Welcome to Well Read, a program about a little bit of this and a little bit of that at your Ames Public Library. I'm Jerry Hyde, Youth Services Manager at your public library, and I'm going to talk about today a wonderful program called Small Talk, a collaboration between Ames Public Library, Raising Readers in Story County, and Iowa State University Department of Education. And today we have with us some members that have taken the class Small Talk and our parent educator for Small Talk. Cynthia, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you came to be the parent educator of Small Talk in Story County.
Okay, well, I was a music educator for many years in the Ames schools, and I was paying attention to raising readers and talking with Judy Dahlke, and she told me about this opportunity that was coming up to be involved with a research type program where we were teaching parents how to talk more with their kids. And knowing from the brain research about singing and talking with kids and how it really lights up the brain, I thought, well, this sounds like a good fit for me. So I applied and I am the parent educator.
Yes, we interviewed you and we hired you. A wonderful position to have the opportunity to help our parents in our community to learn how to talk with your children and sing with your children, because we also know that singing is as important as reading with your child and talking with your child. And so what kind of training do you have to help us with this project?
Well, this is through the Lena Foundation, and it is a sequential program. We learn through Lena trainers. They actually came from Colorado to teach us, and they keep in touch with us on a regular basis, and the program changes. So we've developed we have a program that this couple went through, and then now we have a program that we're going to start again next year that will look a little different than the program that Leah and Marley went through.
So the original program was an 8-week class, 8 continuous weeks, and then they graduated from that class and then went into a master's program for their child. And we have graduates from both classes here, the master's program as well as the undergrad program that we have. So let's go ahead, and they use this material, the parent guide, as well as some interaction weekly that they have with you. And this is one family that has participated. Can you go ahead and introduce us to them?
Yes, today we have Lee Bauer and Marley Mesa with us, and Amy also.
And Amy. And she was our participant, our young child that wore one of these vests. And so tell us a little bit about the vest and this little recorder that we have here.
Okay, so the child wears the vest for one whole day with the recorder, and the recorder is, well, we put it on in the morning and they just kind of ignore it the rest of the day, and the child, everybody goes about their own business, and the recorder takes data on adult words, word turns, conversations between the child and the parent, and also electronic noise or sound, generally TV talk.
And what happens then with it? As I know that the parents turn this in weekly then.
And we give them a report.
And it gives them, because we download that information, or
Right.
actually Dr. Beecher and her students do that, her graduate students. And so no one actually listens to this.
No, not at all.
So
I mean, that was 16 hours of a lot of
conversation that would be happening, or
Right.
time. And I know I've had boys and girls come to my story time with these vests on, and it does make you think about what you're doing or what you're not doing with the child.
With
so
the child.
we we have our little one here. That, how are you today? Did you wear one of these vests? Yeah. Can Mommy tell us and Daddy tell us about what that was like for you and Mommy and Daddy? Shall we try that? So Dad, what was it like for you?
Wearing the vest, Amy, it didn't seem to bother her much. There were other participants in the program who seemed to have more trouble, but for Amy, she just put it on, and she didn't play with it much.
And so what was it like for you? Did, like I said, when they knowing what the VEST is, and when they're in my program, it's like, oh, I better watch what I say, or wait for that conversation turn. Did you feel any of those?
It was stressed that none of the actual conversation would be recorded or used in any way, so we talked normally and weren't intimidated at all.
Good.
With the VEST, though, I did notice that we were incentivized to talk a lot, so I found myself and Marlee talking a lot.
Well, and talking is important, but it's also that conversation turn that Cynthia was waiting that time to listen to her response.
Exactly. We learned that the turn is 6 times more important than the actual words. So
Yes.
So good student. Got that A there, right? Check mark for good here.
And also electronic noise interferes and is not productive generally for kids. So
and we're talking electronic noise like television,
radio,
and music and radio. Yeah. Did you learn in your class about why that was?
Yes. Yeah.
Because they don't have a response from the TV or the telephone, and that's the point of the study, that they should interact with you or.
So I know one of the things that in the class we talk about a lot are the conversation turns, and can you explain a little bit about how that was like for you with the conversation turns and what they are?
We learned in class that conversation turns when the child responds to what an adult or another person says, that's 6 times more important than just adult conversation. So it's important to wait and for the child to respond.
And I know many years ago I took a class with PLA, Early Literacy Skills and Practices. They talked about when you were talking with a child or interacting with a child, that to wait to count to 5 or 6 in your head before they respond, and because it takes that long for the brain to work through and make that path happen. And so that's when I'm like trying to wait. I kind of count in my head to 5, and then it doesn't matter whether it's a little infant blowing bubbles or cooing back at me or an older child. It's about 5 to 6 seconds, and adults too. When you do a presentation in a class, it's also. But so the conversation turns in waiting and listening for them to respond, and then the recorder also records the adult conversation. It knows what adults are sounding like and what children sound like, and those conversation turns. And there's one more. Can you let us know what that one more is, the technology?
Yeah, well, it was amazing because when we started the program, Amy didn't say anything. So sometimes you don't think that little noise is the response. And it was amazing to see how much response she was giving us every week and how that was growing.
So how did that grow? Did you all change your behavior then?
Well, I think we changed because at the beginning it's like everyday things that sometimes you don't realize how much you're saying. So sometimes I was just doing something and I didn't say anything to her. But we learned that just describing what you're doing, that's a conversation for them, and they respond to that.
Yeah, and they respond and they hear those words, and the research says that talkative parents and talkative moms, that was the research that was done, that if you have a talkative mom, then the child is going to have a higher vocabulary and will be talkative as well. So what parts of the classes did you enjoy the most, and what were some of your challenges?
Well, one thing I found interesting was, and we started to talk about this a minute ago, was the third thing that's picked up on the recorder is electronic sounds from either radio or television, mostly television. And we learned again in class that that's not the best thing for children because there's very little interaction. Kids just sit in front of a television or a video game and just watch and don't interact. And the interaction, of course, and the turns, of course, is what's so important.
And along the way there was some reading, right? Did you read with your child?
Yeah, every day. We receive a lot of books, and we have 2 girls, and Amy, she just take the books and she's like reading. Of course she
Reading in
she
her own
doesn't
way.
read, but she looks the books and she's interested in that. And Erin, she doesn't read, but she's looking at the books and she's pretending. And she said what supposedly the book said, and it's amazing. That's the good thing. The other one is enjoying the benefits.
So the older
too.
child, benefited from the classes and the change of behavior that you had. And by the way, we always think, even a baby that's chewing on a book, we call that reading here at the library. So
Well, then
it's reading. When they're
read a
turning
lot.
the pages and looking and talking, and whether or not it's words that we understand or words that they are the only ones that they understand, they're reading. They're reading the pictures. So we, that's a very good thing for them to do. So your youngest was how old when she was?
When she started, she was 7.
7 months.
7 months.
And then it was basically a 16-week class. And then, but the older one is how old?
She's 2.
2. So both of them really benefited from, but we only do the one per family to make that difference.
Yeah, and it was the
because of the
jobs.
research and things. So, well, this is a fantastic program that we've started, and as Cynthia said, we're going to be doing a different program, or a program, Small Talk, continue it after the first of the year. And Cynthia, can you kind of tell us what the program's going to look like at that time?
Well, this program's a little bit different because before we had 2 separate classes, the basic program and then a graduate class, but now they're going to combine all of the series together. So it's going to be 13 weeks. So it'll be once a week, and you'll get to practice those talking tips every week and record every week. So it's kind of more of a habit forming thing, I think. So I think that we'll be very happy with that.
I always remember when I first became a parent many years ago, we joked about, we didn't get a program or a class on parenting. We just were parents, and I kind of put this as our class on parenting, that it helps because if we can read and our children can have a great vocabulary, we know they can be more successful, and we know that school will be easier for them and more helpful in the world, which makes a better community member in our world and makes a better world a better place. So lots of wonderful things are happening, snowballing down the road. So thank you so very much for taking the class and being here today. And Cynthia, thank you for being our parent educator and
welcome.
continuing that knowledge and sharing that knowledge with everyone in our community. And if you know of someone that's 0 to 3 months or 30 months, 0 to 30 months, or a parent of a child that is 0 to 30 months, call us at the library and we'll hook you up with the right person to get you signed up for the class. It's open to all ages and it's free, and you get lots of books to put in your home library, and your child as well as yourself as parents benefit from all of it. So please come and join us and sign up, and you can sign up before the class begins in February again. And so contact us here at the library in the youth department, and like I said, we'll hook you all up with the right people at the right time and get some books in your library. So thank you for joining us.